What's up, Trekkies? Hi, so what have we got? Again, ship stats. Told you this next week's gonna happen. Guess what? It came in the very next day, as I thought it was going to, and I thought about recording it back then, but then I was like, no, because console's gonna have probably something that came out. And I thought maybe I'll just record it yesterday. You know, even though there was no console news. Well, guess what? It's today, and there is no console news. Other than it's your week 2 rewards for Mirrors and Smoke. Missile launcher. I picked it up. I don't know. I haven't used it. I don't know. It seems like it could be useful. But again, just run the mission so you can get your specialization point or tech upgrade. Whichever one you really want. If you're still looking for specializations, then go with that one because they're harder to get in a way. If you got your crafting up there, I mean, yeah, tech upgrades are great, but I have all my specializations on PC. So I don't use them. I think if I get it, it'll just give me dilithium. I think they saw a conversion there or something. Also, before we get into the ship stats, I'm going to say that I want to say that I kind of enjoyed the biathlon event on Risa, but then people figured out what the hell they were doing, and I could no longer get first. Although I did get, like, you know, well, the first day I got second place because I don't do the power board, so when I get to the end, I ran through the first place one and didn't click it. So when I scooped back around, someone already clicked it, so I clicked second. But then I realized what I did, and then, so the next time it came around, and then the next time, and then the next day it came around. Yeah, because I don't stay that on, you know, because it's like, what it is I'm bad at powerboard racing. But when it comes to, when you have to, let's see for you guys, when you circle around the island, and you come back in on the front, and you have to switch to your jetpack, I know how to, I do that all the time. I come and then I hit the ground, and or if I need to go up to the monkey vendor and the bird vendor, I'll like, and then right near the beginning, right near the building, I'll hit my jetpack immediately while I'm on my board. And they changed the animation, they fixed it, but before it used to like get in your jetpack and start flying, but then like you're tripping on air, and it was great. So that's that. PC, it's Last Chance Smuggler's Heavy Escort R&D promotion. So that's going on right now. That's cool. That's fun. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, it's Risa. I do like the fact that, see, the first year we had the Risian Escort. That thing, the speedboat, basically. That was kind of floating a little bit in the water, on the water, and you could see it kind of floating out there. And then the next year we had the luxury cruiser, and so it was floating out there like a big cruise ship. But then we had the Nandi, and the Nandi was floating out there in the water. But then the Vorgon ship, the last one, wasn't there. And I was like, oh, could they just not get it? And now this Vorgon ship is up in the sky. Technically, you can fly over. I mean, you can't go to it and fly over it, but you can get to the top of the mountain with your jetpack, and you can kind of look down on the top of it. It's not that high in the sky. I'm going to say it right now. Called it. I didn't really call it, but when I said last week that, hey, it's going to be a carrier. Now, probably Commander Science, but the Obelisk is a Commander Engineering. And I don't remember any Commander Tacticals off the top of my head, but this one's Commander Engineering. So let's move into the stats here. Like, I was looking like, Commander Engineering! And I was hoping Aaron would want to get the ship, but he's just not into playing Star Trek anymore. Like, this is like the 5th time I've tried to entice him into playing again, and it's just not. So what it's got is Commander Engineering, and then the bonus, Lieutenant Commander Tactical and Science. The Temporal Operative, since it's Vorgon. Vorgon is the poetry guys from that series. Gotcha. It's Lieutenant Universal / Temporal Operative. So you don't get many Temporal Operative things, but it at least gives you like a builder and an entropy builder and a consumer, or just builders if you want to use it. And then, I was thinking about this one last night on how I was going to phrase this, and I was like, What is that? Ensign Engineering? Ensign Tactical? No, it's Ensign Team. That's all I ever use the Ensign slot for, is like Tactical Team 1, Science Team 1, Engineering Team 1. I mean, I use Science Team 2, because it's just sort of in my rotation, because it used to boost science skills, and now it doesn't. So, but I've had it for so long. I mean, it's great, because it clears science debuffs. And it's a great shield heal on top of that. Plus I have like extra shield healing. Anyways, but this thing is a whale and it turns at 6.5 degrees per second. Now, I'm gonna put out my typical snark here, and you can be one of those people that buys everything for a turn rate so you can make this thing turn like a top. But I feel like you kind of lose the spirit of the ship when you're like, I have to make this thing turn, I need my dual beam banks and dual heavy cannon. It can, and what it should. It's a cruiser. It can equip dual heavy cannons, and it's great because you can pull up really slow on something and face it like a Borg ship, or anything that's really big, and you can fire dual heavy cannons on it. But if you're like in Borg disconnected, you're not gonna really, I mean, unless you are parked back in between where the ships show up and the re-assimilator, you're not going to be using your dual heavy cannons much because everything flies around you, and you're just going to want a beam boat, which is fine. This is more of a defensive ship because it's got plus 10 shield power, plus 10 aux, and aux boot, so it seems to kind of be science leaning cruiser. Its Starship Mastery package, you know, is an engineering carrier, so. I mean, it's got 3 tactical, 5 engineering, 3 science. It's fairly balanced between the two. You can take this thing offensively. It's got a pretty decent shield modifier. And got 2 hangar bases because it's a full-blown carrier. But it does have targeted subsystem targeting. That's a benefit. So, subsystem targeting, like, we'll just run that down. What it does now is you build up a debuff on a target, and the more you hit that target, it used to affect 1 shot. And you'd shoot, and it would decrease the power in that subsystem with a chance to knock it offline. Now, your weapons stay charged with that for a little while, and you go, and you build up a debuff, and it has a less chance to make the subsystem go offline, but it can reapply itself. It works a little bit different, and I like it because it allows me to. If I hit a target with it and then it dies because someone else is shooting it, then I'm not losing that subsystem targeting, and a 15-second cooldown, I can just move on to something else. That's a benefit there. Like I said, this is a pretty defensive carrier. This is not designed offensively. But there's going to be someone out there that's going to load this thing up with weapons and be like, oh my god, I am the best! Mwah, mwah. And I'm like, dude, you're taking an aircraft carrier and you're turning it into a destroyer. I am the best. But anyways, and the reason why I say this is because the trait and the console are both pretty defensive. They have their offensive abilities, like the console is a sub-phasic defense drone. It passively boosts shield subsystem power and projectile damage, and can be equipped on any Vorgon ship. We'll call this either. The last one. Now here's what bugs me. We have 2 Risa ships, 2 Ferengi ships, and 2 Vorgon ships. None of them are science vessels. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 brain ships. None of them are science vessels. Like the carrier is, because it's got a commander science, but it's like not a science vessel. And that bugs me. Hopefully something will happen here. But the sub-phasic defense drone is trying to duplicate the effects of the toxic thought. So what it does is it can absorb directed energy, inverting the flow in such a way that debilitate attackers' weapons. So it channels a shield on you, it looks like, and anybody that hits you, it weakens their attacks against you. which is good. To add this to this utility, the Vorgon also outfit these drones with defensive enhancements that fortify and regenerate shields of the ship that launches them. The trait seems pretty cool. I probably won't use it. I'm much more offensive in my Vesta. While this trait is slotted, using hull healing abilities will create support probes that target at the target's location, or self. This probe will constantly restore a small amount of hull to its target, as well as passively draining the shields of nearby foes. So it's like the little worker bees or whatever, the little shield repair ones that you can currently buy, but these also drain the shields of nearby enemies, which is cool. Again, you may want to have some drain mastery and some shield mastery. Like I said, this is science-y leaning engineering carrier. The frigate, they're frigates, so you only launch 2 in total, but they're powerful. Not swearing today here. So Vorgon Carrier frigates. You get these are the elite ones. They're from the shipyard. The first ones are from the EC store, but come on the ship. The next ones come from the dilithium store, but really the fleet shipyard is what we all kind of care about, because they're the super ones and they're the big ultra rare ones, and that's what you want. They come with 2 Tetrion beam arrays in the front, 1 Tetrion dual beam bank, and then in the back it's a Tetrion beam array and a Chronoton mine launcher. So they have 3 Tetrion things broadsiding. They've got 3 in the front, and they don't really shoot anything in the back, but that's fine, because as they're turning, they'll broadside a little bit more, but then they'll curve around because they have a high turn rate, and they'll still have stuff. And then when they fly by, they'll drop mines randomly. Mine Dispersal Pattern Alpha 3, which basically just puts out a crap ton of mines. I don't use mines, so I don't really know how the mine dispersal patterns work. It could be very dangerous, though. It could be just... I'm not sure if you slot a trait that affects your mines, if it will affect your little buddy's mines. But I'm not sure about that one. And then it's got Suppression Barrage 3, which I forgot what that does. Suppression Barrage is Command Bridge Officer space ability. It applies a debuff effect to enemies you damage, reducing their damage and movement speed. Suppression Barrage 3, so it may be a lesser version of this, but it's minus 50% outgoing damage, minus 66% flight speed, minus 66% turn rate, and minus 50% accuracy. That's the rank 3. That sounds terrifying. Cannot stack, but that's okay. At least your guys can maybe reapply it to each other. That's that. So yeah, that's what's going on this week, Star Trek in the world. We will chat next week. Again, I'm not sure what's going on. It might just be, hi, how are you doing? I mean, there might be news. There might be console news. Anyways, so yeah, chat with you guys next week.